What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down the best wide receiver one-on-one routes that you can run on the goal line, okay? So everybody's going to be faced with a goal line situation where they are up against a man coverage look. What are some of the best routes that you guys can choose when maybe you're in a competition setting, or how can you guys run some of those best routes that your offensive coordinator, your quarterback, your play caller is going to be making you run in this situation? So I hope this video helps you guys out. If you guys have any kind of video feedback or any kind of content that you guys would like to see next, we'd really appreciate it, guys. You guys help keep the channel moving, so we definitely appreciate it. So first route here is going to be a whip route. Now, the most common coverage that you're going to be seeing on the goal line, in the red zone for that matter, is going to be this inside shade kind of catch technique coverage, right? They're not going to come up and give you a quick jam right off the line, because that makes it very easy to just go give them a quick move and go run a goal line fade, especially if you're a bigger wide receiver. So you're going to see a lot of this coverage. So how would you guys attack this? So we're going to play this thing full speed. So he does a great job of attacking the DB's leverage, breaking to the inside, and running this whip route. Now, that's like a one-step whip route. Obviously, you could do it on a three-step break, but it's good to talk about this one step as well so you guys can get a feel for it. So when I have this inside shade guy right here, and number one thing is we have to make it look like what? We have to make every single route look like either a fade or it pairs into a slant, especially when you're on the goal line, because this guy's inside shade to prevent the slant. Because everybody loves to run a slant on the goal line. Just, hey, run a quick slant. Quarterback's going to take one step because he's getting pressure and throw this thing right to the receiver. So that's what I have to make it look like as a wide receiver. So how does he do that? So he comes off the line and he attacks his leverage and squares him up. On the goal line, when you have this kind of coverage, what a lot of people like to do on their slants is they will square up the DB because they know he's not going to backpedal. They'll give him a crossover outside and they'll go run this slant. So that's how we want to make it look. We want to make it look like I'm squaring him up and just going to try to take off in front of his face. Now, how do I actually do that? You have to make sure that when you guys do make this decision to sell the slant, we are going with a lot of speed. We are bursting across his face. Now, again, this is a very, very explosive movement from this wide receiver. It does not have to be this explosive. You do not have to put the brakes on in one single step like that. But I think what we all can learn from on this is the fact that when he bursts across that DB's face, that puts him on the alert. Because when you're trying to cross a DB's face and he's inside shade, to get him to crash, you have to have speed, you have to be in full stride, your body has to commit to it, and he has all of that. And that's what will move the DB off the platform. If you're going to take 3 steps on the whip, the same principles apply. It's just you're taking 3 steps. You're not going to be able to break it off in one step like this. Okay, so the first number one route that I love to run in one-on-ones, love to call for receivers in one-on-ones, is this whip route against this inside shade 2 to 3 yards off DB. Now, next clip after this, I'm going to play it full speed. We're going to be talking about how you guys can use a peek back move when you guys are in the red zone or on the goal line. So let's watch this again full speed. Great job attacking, bursting across his face, and then breaking this thing right out. So next router from Chris Olave, he's going to be doing a peek back comeback, okay? So this is probably one of the best routes to run in one-on-ones. But before we break this down, fellas, I want to talk to you guys about a great opportunity we are having this offseason. We are going to be traveling out to 7 more cities across the U.S. for 2-day-long quarterback and wide receiver training camps, okay, fellas? So now this weekend, we are going to be in Newark, New Jersey. That camp is completely sold out, but you still have an opportunity to train with us for 2 whole days. We're coming out to Atlanta, Georgia, April 9th and 10th. Then we're going to Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys are local to any one of those cities or would like to travel out to get some work in with myself and my staff of coaches for 2 whole days, 4 hours each day. So it's going to be a ton of reps and a ton of coaching. Check out that very first link in the description below. We're really excited to travel this year, fellas, especially to connect with you guys on this YouTube channel, because we know that, this may not be our biggest platform that we have, but you guys, we feel are the most engaged with the brand, and we always appreciate that. And so we're really excited to get out and meet you guys, help you guys improve in person, and just help your guys' games improve. So if you guys are interested in something like this, want to come out and get better, this is not like a recruiting camp. This is not a camp that's going to have 300 kids out there. We're limiting spots as well, fellas. So it's only 10 to 12 guys per position group. So it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a smaller scale camp. We're really out there just to help you guys develop your skills and help you guys improve and connect and reach more kids. So again, if you guys are interested, very first link in the description below, fellas. We would absolutely love to have you out to one of our off-season camps. Let's get back to this video. So now, peek back move. Best thing that you guys can do on the goal line, because again, on the goal line, the 2 routes, we talked about this. What are the 2 best routes that they want to go over? They want to go, or that you want to run as an offense. You want to run slants and you want to run goal line fades. So that's what you have to make everything look like, right? So he's going to be doing a peek back comeback, okay? So against the same look that we saw with that whip route, you guys got to get very comfortable with this look when you're in the red zone, when you're on the 5-yard line going in, if you expect to get any kind of separation. They're playing this way for a reason. They're playing this way so you just take off and run so he could go get right into your hip and have plenty of space to react, okay? And to take away the slant. So what do you think we want to make it look like? Got to make it look like a fade. So Olave does a great job of attacking leverage, bursting up, giving those eyes, and that's what gets those DBs' eyes in that backfield, and is able to create us some separation. So let's talk about this, right? So when I come off here, inside shade guy, how would you run a fade versus this? You'd attack his leverage. You'd try to get him to sit to the inside. You'd give him a move, and then it would be a foot race to this back corner. So we want to sell that foot race. We want him to think that it is a foot race, it is a fade. He wants to make a quick play on the ball. He's ready for this jump ball situation. So when we go at him, it's got to be the same tempo. I can't rush it. You know what I mean? I got to make sure that I close space. Because when I close space with the guy, that makes him uncomfortable. That puts him on his heels, and that's going to more likely get him to overreact. If I keep too much space, right? If I keep too much space and I run off on the fade right here, there's too much of a gap between the two of us, right? For him to not open up the gate and to go run. He could just kind of side shuffle and still be in a position, not so much shuffle, but you know what I'm saying. He could just do like almost a crossover run and still be in a position to play an underneath route. So we have to make sure that we close space, number one, because that's how you'd run a fade, right? And so when he bursts off, what's the first thing that shoots back? Eyes. And as soon as that DB, and again, you can make the argument, yes, this DB needs to be more disciplined with his eyes and not peek in the backfield, and that's 100% true, and that's a big portion of why this worked. But the only reason he could put his eyes in the backfield is what Olave did. A DB's, the thing about it is like, They look good because of what we do wrong. That's the mindset that you need to have as a wide receiver. It's not about, oh, okay, the DB's just really good. No, we did something wrong. I feel like every route can be runnable. Every route you can win on against any type of coverage. You just have to do the little details correctly, especially against a guy who's a little bit more talented, right? So because he looked in the backfield, that's what forced the DB to look back there. The DB didn't just look back there for the hell of it. He's looking back there because of something we did. He's reacting off of us. So that's why these little details matter the most in these tight goal line situations, fellas. So this peek back right here, again, sell and fade. Get that DB's eyes to the backfield, and he breaks this thing right off. You could run an out route. Maybe if you're on like the 20-yard line, you could run a corner route, or in this specific case, you kind of break it off and run a comeback. It's kind of in between the both, but I would consider it more of a comeback. But that peek back move is one of the best things that you guys can use on the goal line. You could use a peek back in a situation where maybe you're here, you peek back, that DB tries to undercut or tries to get on your hip, and maybe you slip over the top. That's the only time I would use a peek back on an inside breaking route, by the way. But that peek back is something that you guys can do on any kind of outside breaking route that you have in the red zone on the goal line. Or maybe you could even use this peek back and run a slant, right? Maybe I have to run a slant right here. And rather than that like whip route concept we talked about where you attack him, give him a move, and then break inside, maybe I attack him here, and then I give my eyes, and I burst up, and then I put the brakes on that third step right there. His hips are committed, and I slip under. Now, this probably wouldn't be the best scenario for that because we look back, he's kind of trailing behind already. But that's just another variation, another tool that you have in your tool belt is that peek back move. Let's watch it again full speed one more time. Great job by Olave attacking him, closing space, peeking back with those eyes, getting his eyes in the backfield, and then making this play. So now, last but not least, one of the best routes that you can run is a fade route off of a slide release. Okay, so this is probably like one of the most deadly ways to run a fade because this DB is 100% of the time, whenever you slide to the outside, thinking it's what? Thinking it's a slant. A lot of DB coaches, hell, even teach that anytime that you see a slide to the outside, stay patient and just sit right there because he'll just slide and go run a slant. Well, that's what comes into pairing routes together. You guys hear me talk about that a lot on this channel. If you keep up with it, I talk about pairing routes. You want to pair this route with this route. You want to make your slants look like a fade. You want to make your whips look like a slant. Pairing things together and making it look the exact same so I'm not predictable. And this is a perfect example of that. So what he does here is he slides him to the outside, get him a thing slant, gives him a crossover move, and you see how much space he has. That is wide open. From a quarterback perspective, that is wide ass open on the goal line. I can put that ball anywhere and I know he's going to come down with it as long as I don't overthrow him, right? So this is what we need to be able to do. So when you guys do this slide move, especially against one-on-one situation, you got to make sure that we are threatening him vertically, but we're still patient enough, still hesitate enough to get him to sit on the slant. So what he does here is he slides to the outside, right? Now I want you to see how he doesn't go lateral and he doesn't go too vertical. Because the two ways that this DB could make a play on this is when you slide off the line, if you go super lateral, So what you get that in, let's say you give a move, so what you get the DB to hesitate, there is still so much of a gap between the two of you that he's going to be able to react on this thing. So you have to make sure that we are going at this 45. So there's some distance closed between the two of you. And if you do get him to sit to the inside, we can make him pay over the top. And we don't need a lot. We just need a couple steps. Now, the other way that you could screw it up is when you slide off the line, instead of going at a 45, you go vertical. Because now what can that DB do? Get hands. And hands is the best way to screw up the slide release. Now, you might say, oh, well, coach, what if he just gets hands on me even when I go 45? That's the beauty of going at a 45-degree angle, because if he's going to get hands, he has to go at you. He has to come off of his platform. And when he comes off his platform, I could literally just pull his hands down. I could swat his hands and still go up on the 9, because now he is addressing me and he's coming outside of his base. I hope that makes sense. So we have to make sure that we slide on the 45. Now, honestly, you could slide, give a move to the inside like he does right here and get him to hesitate and then go up to the 9. Or honestly, like if he's being real patient, you could honestly just slide, hesitate, and then take off and go. But that slide release fade is one of the best ways for you guys to get separation in a one-on-one situation on the goal line. Let's watch the thing again full speed, because it looks like what? It looks like a slant. Pair your routes on the goal line, fellas, off of slants and off of fades, and watch yourself get a ton of separation. Let's watch it again full speed. Great job sliding, giving the crossover, and then winning that race to that back pylon. Great route. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback, and it's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you're local to one of those 7 cities that we are traveling out to this offseason, we would love to have you out to one of our off-season training camps in Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Dallas, Nashville, and LA. We'd love to have you out. We'd love to help your guys' skills improve. Check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.